Network. We have Willie Garcia from JunkNot, Lorie Daquioag from Waste for Good, Shamita Chaudhry from the Malpa Project, and Mamta Jain from Samposhan. And of course, this session is hosted by Priya Thachadi of Vilgrove, Philippines. All right, I pass the floor on to these lovely ladies.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shar. Much appreciated. And good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And welcome to We Speak. As Shar explained, this is, a safe space, a space to discuss important themes and topics, and showcase the amazing women entrepreneurs in our community. And we are sort of coming together in the context of the UN General Assembly gathering currently. There is the climate ambition summit that's going on as we speak. And I think the last few months has seen a lot of new data around where we are on the climate issues and where we stand in the crisis. And if there's anybody out there who wasn't aware or who wasn't already feeling the crisis, I'm sure this has sort of brought you on, and hopefully all of everybody's social media feed is full of all the action from the UNGA and the climate summit happening this week. But today I'm very excited that we have 4 amazing women entrepreneurs who are champions, who are climate champions, who are in their own way addressing the climate crisis, who are contributing to circular economy, who are really embodying what a climate champion really looks like. And I'm so happy to have you all here. Thank you, Lorie, Mamta, Shamita, and Willie for being here. And let's go straight in. And maybe it would be great to first hear and let the audience know a little bit about, what is your enterprise and what you're doing. So maybe let me start with you, Lorie, and then I'll go to Mamta.
Thank you,
Tell
Ms.
us a little bit about your enterprise.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. So again, I'm Lorie. I'm the founder and CEO of Waste for Good. So Waste for Good is a social enterprise addressing the food waste problem in the country while promoting sustainable agriculture. And Waste for Good or sustainable here the future that would be sustainable to the younger generation. That's it. Lorie again from Waste for Good.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think we lost a little bit there, but we'll come back, talk about Waste for Good in a minute. Mamta, how about you? Let's jump to you.
Thanks, Priya. Yeah, so I am the founder and CEO of Samposhan, is what I'm building as a circular, futuristic ecosystem, which will tackle textile waste from landfilling or incineration in a circular way with local first, women first ideology. And we have 3 things to solve. One is how do we spread awareness about the textile waste, and how do we really inculcate repair, building the repair side of it, and also repurposing by upcycling. So these are the 3 tiers we are working on at the moment. And we have saved about 750 kgs from the landfills of Chennai. Since we are local first, we are building the solution here, and then we'll see where we go.
Okay, so starting local, and then hopefully that's a model you can replicate. Wonderful. Right. And over to you, Shamita. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shamita. I'm the founder of Malpa Project. We're a Delhi-based startup, and Malpa is basically the Hindi word for construction and demolition waste. It is the single largest solid waste stream around the globe, and we're making sure that it is recycled. So we're focusing on the last mile collection of this waste and making sure that it reaches the recycling center. So in short, what we're building is an Uber for waste and making construction and demolition waste just not that big a deal anymore.
Absolutely, that's great, and it's a sort of a very niche industry, and it has, it's one of the
Yes.
big polluters as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
yeah, would love to hear more as we
Yes.
go forward. Thanks for sharing that, Shamit. Then over to you, Willie. Tell us a little bit about your enterprise.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Willie Garcia, the founder and the principal designer of JunkNot. So JunkNot is a social enterprise design firm. We specializes in upcycling of plastic waste to home furnishing and other home decors, while providing livelihood to a community. So our three objective is to create awareness to the community partner and make them stewards to the environment. And third, profit from the products that we produce out of those plastic. That's it.
Beautiful. I, in fact, have a little JunkNot stool in the office here behind me. I can't see it because of the background. But thank you so much for giving us a little peek into what you do. And, from food waste to prevent food waste and improve sustainability in agriculture, to building sort of a circularity ecosystem, to construction waste, to addressing sort of the plastic waste. You've all chosen fairly gigantic challenges to address. And so I'm very curious to know, as founders, those are building and building sort of a sustainable models for your own models and addressing these big problems. How did you start, on this journey, bring together other stakeholders, team members, to really kind of go with you on this journey? Because it's not easy when somebody hears about this very specific issue that you're addressing. They're not really thinking, oh, this is like a sustainable business that could actually continue to grow. And, everybody feels concerned, as, our topic today said. But how does that turn into action? So what has been your founding journey? And Mamta, let me come to you first. Maybe you can share a little bit of, how you approached building this ecosystem that you were talking about in Chennai, which is, one of the big metro cities in India, and one that continues to grow. So how did you go about that?
Yeah, as you rightly said, the concern, it all starts with the concern and the conscious mindset. These two have to coincide, I would say. And so one trigger that started me going on this was Chennai collected 200 metric ton of textile waste, post-consumer waste per day, which was huge number. And so that's the purpose for me now. And how I go about doing it, when I started with post-consumer waste, I understood I don't have the capacity to work on this, coming from software industry. So what I did was what I could do, because I understand the problem. I'll be able to solve it in my own ways, whatever, little or big. So slowly, that's how I started with my small stuff, by collecting the tailor's cutting waste, which is fresh, but gets landfilled in Chennai. And that's the way it is across India. Later on, I figured out. So I know that I have zeroed on a very big problem. Seems small. It is sneaking into landfills across India. So small steps, and then I spread a word across the little network I had: social media, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook. I got joined by two stakeholders, which are my outsourcing partners, and also the two boutique owners, tailoring units. So that's how it started. And then till about 2 months back, I was working from my third bedroom, and I have shifted into a rented space, and I'm in transition phase of setting it up as a full-fledged unit where I have my own production. So far, it has been production with the outsourcing model. It kept the assets very light so far. So we have curated about 30 to 40 products, which are from home decor to daily lifestyle, starting with bags to even jackets. So if you look at my Insta page, you would see beautiful jackets we made out of tailoring, and then slowly we explored what can we do with this. As I said, 750 kgs we have saved. That is my case study. That is my sample study to see what I can do with it. So we have explored stitching, we have explored weaving, we have explored handcrafting, and recycling is the next one I'm exploring. And once I have everything in place, it will be like ready to scale. That's
Lovely. So really kind of starting with the base issue, trying to understand the problem, and then sort of experimenting with what are the products that could actually work in the market. All right, very interesting journey. Lorie, your kind of approach is a little different. You have, it's technology driven and it's building a product. And so you have an R&D facility, and you have quite a few people that you've brought together around this. So how has it been for you developing both sort of a service as well as, a product alongside?
Yeah, actually, Waste for Good started from the discontentment of the developed mobile app. So I'm from engineering industry also, and then eventually that discontentment had me an idea to develop an automatic and solar powered bin that currently or eventually gonna fuel by our minimum viable product, which is the compost activator solution. So I had a lot of challenges in improving the product and also bridging with the community. So one model arise from the lesson learned that I got when I establishing a community. So before we gather a community and what we call that we give a lot of effort to organize them, but that community doesn't progress. So from that learning, we realized that we need to create a model that is scalable and faster to implement. So we decided to partner with the community or organize association or even LG to implement this kind of farm for bayanihan. So in a farm for bayanihan, we're promoting a sustainable and circular model. Well, wherein currently, for example, in a barangay Lasang in Davao City, so it's an peri-urban community where they implement what they call that community farm called Farm for Bayanihan, since one of the objective of Bayanihan is to empower helping each other in the Philippines. So it's a Bayanihan culture empowerment here in the Philippines. So in that Farm for Bayanihan, the community will utilizes the bio waste. So currently we do have 104 women community in Lasang that utilizes the bio waste at the same time while using our product, and then at the same time using the output from the bio waste to implement sustainable farming. So as a return, they can have their fresh yields for their own food source, and also they could process it or they could sell it in a community or their neighborhood to have the revenue or to have a livelihood within the circular system. So in Waste for Good, we focusing on scalable and also sustainable circular model. So we aligned our what you call that implementation even in R&D or even in marketing on the phrase that is essential over luxury. So we really prioritize in our implementing what is essential, since we are startup and also social enterprise. So everything is limited. So we wanted to focus on the things that really give impact to us. So thank you.
Everything is limited. I like that. So you have to figure out what really works. But so very interesting. So there is, so you're getting people to, you built the CAS product, the activator, and then so this community of women, they use, they create from the waste, they use the activator and create sort of the bio waste fuel, and then you plant, and so then the food comes from that, and then hopefully that's what they can consume or sell forward. So really kind of completing that circular model and food. Thanks, Lorie. And Willie, I think for you, it's similar, but with plastic, but you also, I know, work with the women communities to actually collect the plastic first. That's kind of your first step before you move to actually then upcycling them into products. So how does that model work, and how did you manage to convince these coastal community women to join you in this effort?
It's the hardest part, actually, the community engagement, because I know the process. I used to do this tool that we have by myself for 4 days. So how can I all the process of cleaning, the collection, the weaving, and the twining, and turn it into a stool for 4 days. So how can I create a bigger impact if I the one only doing that? So I transferred the technology to the community in Taal Volcano. That time, DNR, TVPL gave me funding to do a livelihood project. And after the workshop, only 4 women only 4 women proceed with this engagement. And then I don't provide them materials. All the materials came from their household waste. So with that 4 women, I pay them 11,000. And then in the Philippines, we have this inget mentality. So other women join in because they envy the other women who profited from this project. So every time I go back, they increases like 11 women, 35. Yeah, I was able to change their bad habit of polluting Taal Lake with their trash, because they used to dispose their waste in Taal Lake with stones on it so it won't float. So that was the one thing that I have changed in the community. And now I'm working with 79 women and families, and they expanded their collection in their neighborhood, in their in their kapitbahay and in sari-sari stores. So even kids don't dispose their waste in anywhere, but bring it at home so their mothers can turn it into profit for the family. So that's my business model. But it's hard. It took me like 1 year to really perfect the operation. And yeah, there was a time that I could not pay the produce, because one boat will cost like, because I have to travel it by boat from Taal Volcano. It cost me 65,000 for one one boat of materials. But yeah, because of opportunities around, like different agencies for promoting my product, and I was able to sustain the operation slowly.
Yeah. So from 4 to 79, no, you've done something right in really incentivizing and sharing this knowledge that, this waste could be something else and should not be thrown into the lakes. And for those listening in, Taal Volcano, before it erupted recently, was, really a big tourist spot, attracting a lot of people. And, once there are more people, of course, more trash. And affecting these communities that live around the lake. It's a volcano in the middle of a lake. So yeah, that's interesting. But what about the response from those buying your products? Do they care that it is upcycled at all, or?
At first, when I first launched it, nobody buy it, because it's the question they always ask me is if it's durable. So I have it tested through the OST to test that it's really durable. And I think it's like it only took off like after 2 years, or 2 years, or when I launched it. I almost give up actually, because I couldn't sustain the operation. But yeah, because of companies are also looking for or wanted to support something like this, I was able to sustain the operation.
All right, so the demand is definitely building, and they are very beautiful products. So, but I understand that how it was not appreciated, especially when you get started. But thanks for sharing that, Willie. Shamita, you chosen to work in a very sort of non-glamorous, very traditional space, construction waste. When I first, the first time we spoke in the context of a different program around shelter, the only reason that, we found you was because we were looking specifically for those working in construction industry. So how did you get into this? I think, how did you even think, okay, construction waste is what I am going to solve?
Okay, so I am an architect and I practice as an architect for a couple of years. And I think that's why I was so sensitive to the construction and demolition waste stream, because somewhere every time I would see this waste, and by the way, it's illegally dumped. Like you would see it, it's so ubiquitous in our urban landscape that it was something that I would spot all the time. And it would make me feel guilty about my profession, that, okay, this is what my profession contributes to, and we need to be doing something different here. So that's how I kind of got into it. But eventually I ended up doing like a master's degree in circular economy, and I focused on construction and demolition specifically. And I came back to India with this very like naive perception, of someone who's just graduated saying, oh, I understand the problem. It's so simple, we have recycling facilities. And by that time, by 2021, recycling facilities had existed in India for about 11 years. If you take the example of Delhi, we had about 5 recycling facilities, which is more than even some of the most developed nations around the world. And I was like, okay, we have recycling facilities and we have a lot of waste. So simple, we just have to make it go from point A to point B. Let's start building the Uber. And that's when I kind of realized what the on-ground problems were. So when I started, I was trying to do a service business where I was just trying to create a network of these informal truckers that already operate in this sector, getting them on board to a platform, making these haulers very easily accessible to everyone, and then taking the waste to recycling. That's what I was trying to do. But that's when I understood that there are a lot of like hindrances in between, and there are a lot of systemic issues to solve. So what we've actually been doing now for the past 2 years is working with the municipal corporation to develop the infrastructure to collect this waste in one point, because that is what did not exist. So construction waste, just being so heavy and so bulky, cannot be very easily transported from point A to point B. It's expensive, just it's a difficult thing to do. So, and also because we have this informal economy, which is so ubiquitous also in India and so efficient, we started seeing how we can leverage the informal sector's human resource capability and use that to solve the formal sector's lack of human resources, and how can we bring those together in a way that works. And so that is what we've been doing. So for example, it sounds so unglamorous, and it is completely unglamorous. There's nothing very flashy about the startup life. We basically help the municipal corporation set up a center, set up dust barriers, sprinklers, all of that. And then we create a network of rickshaw walas, which are people who have like cycle rickshaws and like these radies in the back, very makeshift arrangements. We get the truckers on board, and then we just get them to collect their waste at this one point, and we've built a business model around it, and that is how we're operating, and that's how we're scaling. It's like a neighborhood model, and then with the success of like one pilot, we try to scale it up to more places, and then essentially it's like these centers operate in these 5-kilometer radius radii, and hopefully we can scale it across a city, because each city has very local challenges, and hopefully then across India. So that is how we've grown.
Wow. Yeah, it's I mean, it's also interesting to kind of see, the pivots and the changes that you made based on, you saw the problem and you're like, okay, this could be the solution. But once you actually get into the nitty-gritties of it, face all the mindset barriers, right?
Exactly. We're setting up the infrastructure now. Once the infrastructure is set up, then we can go to our service model. So it's like before we could get to step 1, we had to do step 0.5, and then we'll do step 1 a little later.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that stood out from what each of you mentioned is definitely a barrier there's a certain behavior change that needs to happen for everything that all 4 of you are doing for it to become, let's say, mainstream, for it to be sort of, have more uptake. And I think that is the challenge that we are seeing, right? Is that people are aware of waste. People are, there's at least a high level awareness to at least a certain type of, certain level of the society around this. We're, people who are creating a lot of this waste are very much aware, but when you start implementing these solutions, that continues to be a barrier. So maybe just an open floor question to all four of you. How and what has really worked for you in trying to change this mindset or this barrier or this behavior change that you needed? I think, Willie, you spoke about convincing, first four, maybe then slowly the others did. But what has been really the incentive? Because this is the challenge for many entrepreneurs and especially people working in the climate space, because everybody expresses concern, but then somehow we've not had mass action. And it is this behavior change that is required that is so difficult. So is it a matter of lack of incentives, or, we have to find the right hook? What has worked for you? And let me leave it open for anybody. Please do unmute and, feel free to share.
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Mamta, and then Shamita and Lorie.
It all starts with seeing the reds in the routine and then take the pathway to green. Behavior change is not that easy. When I looked at the tailor's waste, I had to get from them, right? And they refused to give me that in a form that I can handle. They would use single dustbin, teacups, and even discarded needles were part of that. So the way I had tackled this was, I read a report from my local NGO CAG, which said, like, I was unaware of climate crisis at that time. I'm talking about 3 years back, just pre-COVID. So I was not aware of the climate crisis in totality, just heard, okay, there is something happening. And coming from Chennai, sea level rising was what I understood by reading that CAG report. So I'm a self-taught climate and circular economy person that way. Findings from that, I took to the tailors. See, if you're not going to listen to me, in 20 years, this place will drown, that will be under the sea. Will you listen to me now? So that's how they started listening to me. And I used to carry a weighing machine along with me to weigh their waste, to really understand if the problem is there, or am I thinking it's in my mind? Like, so that's how I went. And I'm carrying the same way to even educate the markets now. I'm selling by local exhibitions. So there is a lot of sympathy buying happening, but we need to go beyond that. So I am thinking how we can change. I am spreading awareness on textile waste by talking to people, students, and all people around me. I gave them one link from ThreadUp, which is a fashion footprint calculator. So that really awakens them. Oh my God, what am I doing? So a little bit of awareness. The behavior change is very long path. I have one thing to tell you, like, there are a lot of policy gaps and all these things. If behavior change, all four of us, all impactpreneurs are facing on this issue on bringing in behavior change in all the stakeholders in the entire supply value chain. So why cannot the governments take this up? Why should that be on my burden?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop with that.
Fair question. Let me come to Lorie, because I know that she's had internet issues and I can see her properly now. So Lorie, why don't you jump in, because I know you were agreeing strongly with Mamta there.
Yeah, I agree with her actually. Behavioral changes is really so hard, but I started on iterating my product and also improving my relationship based on what I heard or based on what I observed. So I started project like this is our current problem, introducing or providing awareness how heavy is climate change is, and also listening to their feedback, because we started like a value proposition of focusing on what you call that utilizing bio waste before the sustainable agriculture. Currently we are focusing on sustainable agriculture, larger yield income, and then bio waste utilization. Because based on what I observed on the 100 people, even though after the orientation, after the workshop, they will say that, yeah, I appreciate your talk. I really afraid that, and also like they are empathizing on what you're saying. But if you're gonna look at their actions, they care much more about their gain or about their the plant growth or the bigger yield and also the income. So on a community base, what we're focusing is providing livelihood, because for me there's two kinds of mindset: the survival mindset and the growth mindset. So as entrepreneur, we're on the growth mindset, but there's a lot of community, particularly on the low income families, they're on survival mindset. So we're gonna help them to cope up and step up to the growth mindset so that they could appreciate what we're doing. So in Waste for Good, we're promoting a model that could give them like scalable income. So currently we're not that big, but we're aligning on giving them more livelihood, and so that they could step up on the growth mindset, and so that we could what you call that, scale up and work together. Because uh, whatever actions you're pulling or pushing on the community that has survival mindset, sometimes they couldn't absorb, because what they're focusing is how they could survive on their daily needs. So they're focusing on the income, and also they're focusing on the livelihood part. So on Waste for Good, we're improving our product, we're iterating a lot of things to cope with the market, and also to cope with the community that we're helping. So that's it. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's a really important point, I think, to raise. And I think in most, at least, at least for the three of you who have products, for upcycling products, there is both sides. So there's the community, which is sort of the low income sort of group that you're working with. And then there is sort of the buying customer who is different. And there is different types of behavior change that needs to happen on both ends. But I think we'll come to the consumer, and maybe I'll ask Willie to touch on, who's buying her products. But let me come to Shamita first. Shamita, I'm sure you're working with local government and a really, really traditional way. People have been working this way forever. And so how are you addressing this particular issue that we're talking about?
So how we approached it was to first figure out whose problem we're trying to solve here. Because for us, we started with the assumption that the waste is the problem of the person who's generating it. But then we realized that that person just wants to get rid of his waste, his or her waste, however they're doing it. At the end of the day, it's the problem of the person who has to transport it, because it's a bulky issue. So one, to understand what the issue is, to understand what the pain point is, and then to present the value proposition in a way that it makes sense. So you would assume, for example, that maybe someone who's a waste hauler has a survival mindset, and yes, they do, to quite an extent they do. But when we approach them with the Malba issue, that, okay, what exactly is the issue you're facing? We realized that not having a place to take their waste was a huge issue for them. So that partnership with the government was actually very valuable for them. And then we built a business model around it, where we said, okay, if we provide you this is how much money you're going to be saving. This is how much your revenue will go up in a year. So how about you pay this much for this service? And then they were more than happy to do it, because they were getting so many benefits out of it. And it was good for the environment also. So we realized that it was just about changing the way, like firstly presenting it in a format that they understand. And then we started talking about the environment. We told them that, okay, this causes dust pollution. Have you noticed that you tend to cough a lot when you're dealing with this waste? Do you know people in your community who are facing lung issues? Like those kind of things. And they kind of resonate with it now. We have some people who regularly speak to us, and they remember us as the people who care for the environment. They're like, we like you because you care for the environment. We solved that problem also, yes, but now they've associated it with the fact that, oh, this is also better for the environment. We're doing a good thing at the end of the day. So it gives them more pride as well in their work. And that's also sort of tipping the scales a little bit, slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's really aligning the incentives, right, for all of the different stakeholders.
Yeah,
because,
to really understand,
yeah,
their problem and empathize with them. Like, go with that empathy first model and say, okay, let's put our own agendas aside. Yes, we care about the environment, but what is your issue? And then how can we interweave our narrative into your narrative.
Absolutely. Like really pinpointing the pain point for all the different stakeholders in that value chain and everybody who you are, so that it kind of intersects with your mission. I think that's very well said. Thank you. Willie, let me come to you. I think Mamta raised a very interesting point around, okay, there's definitely some sympathy buying, there's a bit of a trend around this, but is that enough? What are you seeing? Because you also make some specialized products, and it is for mid to high income segments. So is there enough that climate concern is enough for you to be able to succeed in the market with your products, or does it have to be?
I'm actually changing two mindset. Like the community partner, like everyone else. It's really hard to engage them at first, but I know how to do it, so I compensate them well. In fact, during before the lockdown, the Taal volcano erupted. So this is the only livelihood that they had when they were displaced. So and yeah, they're producing so much. And second is the market. When I launched this, a lot of companies wanted to donate their plastic waste. So how can I manage that? So I created a program for companies. I call it the tie-up project, the trash innovation and exchange of upcycling. So anything that they donate to us, it has to go back to them in the product form. So it's a circular way. And at the same time, I'm teaching them that they have to be responsible of what they have produced. So I'm not their downside. So it's a linear solution that they are offering. So I offer the circular solution, which is the tie-up. And yeah, because of there's another law that came up, the EPR law. All manufacturers are mandatory to have a zero waste production. So because of that, a lot of companies are approaching me to collaborate with them. I turn it into a product, a corporate giveaway or trophies, or they can, like in one food chain, all their old shares, I turn it into a school. I put a desk on it so they can donate it to a public school. So yeah, it's a collaboration with these companies, and yeah, it's picking up. But I also launched it a long time ago. nobody cares with the circular approach. But now because of the law, it helped me with the operation. And yeah, it's also applicable for individual, not just for companies. So in your household, Priya, you can collect all your plastic waste. At the same time, you can it's an audit for your household, how much you consume in a span of like a year, and you give us the plastic waste, and we turn it into a chair that you like from our collection. So I'll give it back, your waste, in the product form. So you have to reduce your waste because you'll end up with so much chairs.
Too many chairs. I already have two. So now, if I bring all my plastic to my house is going to be all junked out, which is a great reminder of, to continue to reduce the plastic.
Yeah.
And, I'm just a household of two, my husband and I, and every month we take our plastic to the plastic credit exchange facility, and we're like, how are we, who are all fairly conscious people, already accumulating so much? So I can just we can only imagine the more members in the house, and how much we each are accumulating, especially post-pandemic. I think we've all gotten into the habit of the online shopping, and it all comes with like 30 different plastic wrappers for a tiny product. And so I think if we have, if Willie's going to force us all to have the equal amount of furniture in our house, I think that'll be a good lesson. But thanks for sharing that, Willie. I want to just, please do drop us any questions that you have for these amazing entrepreneurs in the chat, and I'm happy to take that up with them. But let me come to you. So many of us, listening in today live or later, are probably thinking, okay, how can we do better? Now they came here and because of their climate concern, and now everybody is feeling guilty. What can we do better? But it's not always easy for us to continue to keep that up in our life, right? And I think that's the challenge. So we spoke about behavior change. So maybe a question to each of you. Maybe there's something that you practice personally in sustainability, or do you have any advice to each of us as individuals or citizens, how we can, what can we do, whether it's small or big, in our own lives to continue to be part of the climate action? So maybe, Lorie, let me come to you first. Any advice for our audience, for all of us?
For me, it's always before changing behavioral, it's always start with the mindset and also followed by the habit and comes with the behavior. So for me, personally, I apply essential over luxury. So to make our world, or to what they call that, to promote climate change mitigation, we should focus on essentials. So we consume what we need and also avoid luxuries such as or as much as possible reuse the possible items that could be reused. And also within our organization, we apply like we avoid buying items that are not essential. We avoid spending on the budget that are not essential. So we personally in the house, we're also implementing that one. And we also utilizing our bio waste. So we have our own mini garden. So we'll just purchasing like outside like meat, and also actually weekly maybe we will just buying once outside with the meat. And also we're avoiding buying the things that were not needed. So I apply that also. And even I also train my son to follow what I'm doing. So as I said, it's always like to help the environment, I mean to help our world, or to promote climate change mitigation. It's always on promoting, focusing on essential over luxury. Thank
Oh, I
you.
love that. And it's nice to see that your son is also following your example, and that's what you're instilling. Stick to the essentials. Don't consume things that you don't really need. Okay, that's a very beautiful and strong message. How about you, Mamta?
Yeah, continuing on, stick to the essential is the first thing. And I have this mantra that I've been following in my personal and this journey, entrepreneurial journey. Refuse is the first R. So we know about reduce, reuse, and recycle. I would say first look at what you need to refuse to. Then you will arrive at the other R's. So I'm building my this venture also on the same lines. So the products that we make are all low carbon products. So we avoid using, when I say low carbon, in every way, the virgin material is the minimal. If we have to use a Velcro, we totally avoid Velcros. Initially, we did have some experiments where we needed Velcros. So now we are totally off those. Then we had initially plastic zippers for the sling bags and all. You would need certain kind of bags, you do need those. And for multi-purpose pouches, we shifted from plastic zipper to the metal-based zipper. So we're trying to do this and reduce the waste as much as possible, because metal is at least recyclable and it doesn't emit as much as the plastic ones. So look at what every action of like we in Indian what is that called, Sanatana Dharma or whatever, now it is catching up. So karma is there, right? So now I'm thinking carbon is the karma. Every action of yours has some carbon footprint, a carbon energy and resources footprint. Let us look at that and then change our ways. That's the mantra I follow.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. Carbon is the karma. So what is your karma, right? That's actually a very simple but very impactful way of putting it. But I also like the idea is that, okay, there is also refuse. You may not need many things. So use what you need. Okay, it's a strong message. Willie, how about you? What is your message to individuals? How can we do better?
Yeah, you can start signing up to our tie-up program.
I love it.
Yeah, and you can actually waste audit your household, how much you consume in all the waste material by segregation. And also, I agree with you that refuse, learn how to refuse those single-use plastics, especially the single-use plastic. Always bring your bag. As simple as that. Oh, yeah, there.
Yeah, strong message there. Yes, of course. If you have a business and you're generating a lot of waste, let Willie know. She's going to add you to her program. But I love the idea of the refuse. I think, in fact, just the other day in our team, we were talking about, what is the sustainable straw to use? And I think one of our colleagues was saying, I don't use it at all. I don't even want the paper straw or the metal straw or the plastic straw.
You
I
can
just drink from the glass.
always drink
right?
from the glass.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was, just a simple conversation, but that's so true, in many cases. Before you have to and when you order your drink, you have to already say no straw because it comes with it. So it's even a small kind of action like that. Shamita, there are a few questions from the chat, so but let me just hear from you. What is your shout out to everybody here? What can we do better as individuals?
One of the easiest things and one of the most fun things that you can do is actually compost your waste. You can do it as a family exercise. You can literally order a home composter off of Amazon, just get it in your house. So satisfying. In 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks of effort, you'll get this beautiful smelling, very nice. It smells like a forest, by the way, compost. It doesn't smell bad. You can put it in your plants. Sometimes you get surprise plants sprouting. So when I compost and I put it in my pots, sometimes I get a tomato plant and it's giving me tomatoes and I never even planted one. And it's just, nature gives you nice surprises. So try it as a fun exercise.
I love it. And if you're in the Philippines, you can reach out to Lorie's team in Waste for Good, and they'll send you the kit that you need. Right, Lorie?
Yeah, we have a kit that's easy to use.
Yeah. So in fact, that's actually one of the questions, but let me take the first one, which is around to all of you, again, lots of love and kudos coming to you from the audience. But the first question is around how do you see your enterprise growing? And are there any specific eco products, for those of you with products, are you looking to launch in the coming months or in the coming year? So maybe for Mamta, Willie, and Lorie, any products that you're launching soon?
So yeah, I will start first. So
Go,
for Waste
Lorie.
for Good, since our minimum viable product for now is a microbial inoculant or solution, we see our enterprise going maybe 5 years from now. We're promoting an automatic and solar powered bin which could be set up in the parks that has a function of charging while utilizing bio waste and also have the gardening system within it. So an easy to use product. So it's a combination of technology plus agriculture. So since it has solar power, so it doesn't consume additional energy or it utilizes the solar waste, solar energy. So yeah, that's it. And also currently we have collaboration and discussion for joint venture for Waste for Good Japan. So that's one of the plan. So eventually 5 years from now, we're selling products in Japan.
All right. And maybe just while you're at it, there's also a question for you, Lorie. Maybe you can answer before I come back to Mamta, Willie, and Shamita. Is that what tips do you have for people who want to get into home gardening? Apart from buying the Waste for Good planting kit, but how do you actually even think about getting started?
Yeah, apart from buying Waste for Good, like if you're eating veggies or buying kalabasa or squash, so there's a squash seed So if you have recycled, like recycled bottle, so you can cut that one and put like soil, and also put your seeds there, so you can grow initially. So you can start home gardening at that kind of idea or simple idea without buying our products. So I think I addressed your question.
But you can also buy the product, but in case you
Yeah.
want to start trying,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's a good way. Okay, cut the, those recycled bottles, put a bit of soil, and, at least start with some shallots. Okay.
Yeah.
Super. So maybe Mamta, you wanted to share about some upcoming plans.
Yeah, so we have been selling well these buntings, cloth buntings made out of. Chennai has a lot of silken clothes waste, cutting waste coming to us. So we made use of those and making those home decor product. And we are looking at, itching alphabets onto those, stitching alphabets basically. So that will be our next products, probably Happy Diwali or Happy New Year is the plan. Let's see everything goes well and we have that out. And another thing is we have tried using all these small pieces of fabrics to solve one problem that we women face with our purses, handbags, of hunting for the keys you have dropped into the bag. In an unorganized bag, we are all into this tote bags. Tote bags do not have much of organizers. So we will soon come up with that. So that's another thing. With waste, we will solve one problem.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here in the office yesterday and I could not find my keys. So I know how common that is. Thanks for sharing that, Mamta. Willie, how about you? Any, I know yours is made to
Product.
order, but
Yeah.
what's coming up?
Yeah, I'll be launching new design this coming Manila Fame on October 19 to 21. So the title of the collection is Pintig. Pintig is heartbeat. So yeah, it's a collaboration with my musician friend in Davao. So
Wow, sounds
come and
beautiful.
visit
Can't wait. Can't wait to
Yeah.
visit you at Manila Fame. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Shamita, maybe just going back to, I think you kind of touched on it earlier, which was how do you see your enterprise growing? I think you were talking about moving to a service model. What does that look like in the next few months or the next years as you look ahead?
So we're starting to work in a new part of Delhi now. We've just signed a pilot project. So that's what we'll be doing. We're still trying to expand in Delhi and create like a working model for Delhi, which does produce the most amount of construction waste in India. And and we are also planning to start awareness exercises pan India. So at least all the cities that have recycling plants, we are doing a call for volunteers soon. We'll start building out the Malba map that we initially created for Delhi, which was identifying illegal dumping hotspots, where is the waste infrastructure. So creating this map, once we do it for a lot of these major cities, then we'll identify what might be the next viable city to take our model to.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've been definitely been stuck in one of those Delhi dust storms or Gurgaon dust storms in the past.
Yeah. So NCR is a very viable next step for us.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, super. Very exciting plan. So definitely please do look out for the products of Mamta and Willie and Lorie, and look out for the Shamita's team as they expand into Delhi. If you like to collaborate with any of these amazing entrepreneurs, please do reach out to us and we are happy to make the connection. I do see in the chat there are other entrepreneurs here as well who are converting agri-waste. A shout out to Pooja from Biotechra, who's working with farmers and to utilize agri-waste to grow mushrooms. So thanks for dropping that in the chat. So ladies, we are kind of down to the last couple of minutes. I just want to give you a quick second for any final shout outs. So I think you spoke about new products, maybe if you want to share where we can find you, or if there's a specific ask, let me just share that, give you a moment to share that. So let me start with you, Lorie. Any call to action to our audience?
So thank you very much for this opportunity to share about our venture. So for those people who are watching, sorry, please follow our Facebook page. And also for those people or entrepreneur who wanted to partner with us, just follow or message us in Facebook or even in LinkedIn. So I will drop my Facebook page on the chat. So thank you very much. An apology about my voice.
No problem at all. So collaborations, connections are welcome for Waste for Good. Mamta, how about you?
Yeah, I would say Insta is the page you can follow for Samposhan, and I'm still working solo as a solopreneur. If anybody wants to join me, a co-founder space is open for you, or even a collaborator, co-creator possibilities with tailors you can connect me with. And I'm looking at local Chennai, but we are also open to expand if you are the key person to execute on ground. That's the way. So building that. Yeah.
So potential
open for
co-founders.
all positions. Open for all
I
positions.
love it. Support the solo entrepreneurs to expand their teams. I think that's a great shout out. Specifically working on textile waves. So that's your passion, then reach out to Mamta for a collaboration, or you can even join her team. Willie, any call to action for our audience?
Yeah, you can check out my website, JunkNot.ph, and all my social media is also JunkNot.ph. So you can check out how we can collaborate for future projects.
Absolutely. So
Thank
again,
you.
open for collaborations, and JunkNot.ph, that's the name. I think my team is dropping the links in the chat. Please do share this on the live stream as well, so anybody watching can access it. But please reach out to us. Shamita, any call to action as we wrap?
Yes, I'm just posting our Instagram and our website on the chat. There I've posted it. Please go follow us. Join in if you're ever in Delhi. Do join in for a Malba walk. It will be the experience of a lifetime. You will not forget it. Do share about this cause with as many people as you can, because C&D waste is still something that's not a very hot topic, and it still requires a lot of awareness and for people to talk about it. And that's it from me.
Yeah, that's a really important point, because all of us just choose to ignore it. We just cross the street or we just walk around it when we see construction waste. It doesn't seem like anybody's problem, but someone else's problem, right? But thank you for that shout out, Shamita. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Please do check out these amazing women entrepreneurs. Strong messages from the entrepreneurs. Refuse, buy essentials, what you need, and start small, right? Start with the small actions in your own home, and that can lead to bigger climate action that's needed. It all starts with us. We can't wait for only laws or for someone else to solve this problem. This is all of us. We have only one home. This is our planet, and we have to leave a better planet for the next generation. Thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you for everyone for joining us. And we hope that this month, where we are talking about climate awareness, we are able to convert our climate concern to very strong, urgent climate action, because that's what our planet needs. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.